The D.C. jails are disgusting. That's according to many congresspeople, one of which is named Marjorie Taylor Green. And she was visiting the D.C. jails, and she gave us an update and a report. But she's not the first person who's had questions about this. In fact, Congress has been on this for some time. And the House Committee on Oversight sent a letter over to the mayor of D.C. asking the following, drafted on March 9th, from James Comer, coming out of the Congress of the United States, to the Honorable Mayor Muriel Bowser. They write, Dear Mayor, the Committee on Oversight is now investigating the D.C. Department of Corrections and the CCDF, the Central Detention Facility, in D.C. They write, the D.C. jail facilities reported mistreatment of pretrial detainees connected to the events of January 6 raised committee concerns about the detainees' violation of constitutional and human rights. They tell us that eyewitness accounts of conditions, especially conditions for the J6 detainees, paint a picture of despair, hopelessness, and a severe abuse of justice. No prisoner in the United States should be treated this way. Therefore, the committee requests certain documents from your jail facilities and requests you to direct your people to answer our questions. They say the committee is investigating reports that detainees have been subjected to inhumane treatment while incarcerated. They say MTG visited the facilities in November 2021, and despite repeated attempts by DC to not allow that visit, she made it in. She drafted the findings of her report in 2021, and the tour of her facilities showed evidence of abuse and neglect. One detainee had written that he had used the same contact lenses for at least 6 months. One inmate reported being beaten and not being provided care. Another showed evidence of having a fractured bone that was left untreated. Another reported being served food with chemicals or other substances on it. There are reports of detainees not being given haircuts, being forced to live with clogged toilets, all confirmed by MTG's account. One detainee with very severe and documented food allergies described how he had not been provided any alternative food options and was placed in a position of either not eating or being in severe pain from the food. So the committee is now in charge, and we plan to confirm the accuracy of these reports of disparate treatment by the J6ers. During Green's visit, non-J6 detainees were permitted a lifestyle very different from the J6ers. Non-J6ers were getting law school student instructions about their court cases, but the J6ers didn't get access to it. So the DC lawyers will just talk to the non-J6ers. Gosh. The J6 detainees did not receive access to the seminar, but instead said that they were denied access to even their own lawyers. Given the choice of taking a shower, you can talk to your family or you can talk to your lawyer. Which one do you want? Do you want a shower, your mom, or your lawyer? Which one? You get one. Choose wisely. If the allegations made are correct, these are serious abuses by DC. Now, the committee is concerned by reports that they are facing a unique form of mistreatment due to their beliefs, severe human rights abuses. MTG said that they'd been denied access to a Bible, denied access to their communion based on their vaccine status. Green witnessed non-J6 detainees participating in the Justice Policy's Young Men Emerging Unit, where they get workforce opportunities and barbershops. But none of the J6ers were allowed in there. Instead, they were locked down 23 hours per day, and many of them have grown long hair, beards, and fingernails. Reports that water had been shut off for days as punishment. There was standing human sewage in toilets, many of the cells. Hot meals were served cold and congealed. Some inmates had observable injuries. No documentation. Drug use all over the place, including widespread marijuana odors. The committee is not alone in its concern. by the way. This is not just angry Republicans. On October 13th, a D.C. District Court found that the D.C. Director, Quincy Booth, and Warden Wanda Patton violated detainees' civil rights. Here's what the judge said in that case. It said, I find that the civil rights of the defendant have been abused. I don't know if it's because he's a J6 defendant or not, but I find this matter should be referred to the Attorney General of the United States for a civil rights investigation into whether the D.C. Department of Corrections is violating the civil rights of the J6 defendants in this case and maybe other cases. As a result, the matter was referred over to the DOJ. After the referral, the U.S. Marshals Service came in and conducted an unannounced inspection and a review of the facilities. Here's what they found. From October 18th to October 23rd, an 8-person team inspected the facility, interviewed more than 300 detainees. The team found egregious conditions at the D.C. jail facilities. Footnote 12. Statement by the U.S. Marshals Service published November 2nd, 2021. However, on 10/24, D.C. employees ordered the marshals to leave the facilities. Wait a minute, what? One marshal said he had never seen a jail bar marshals from entering. Interesting. So the marshals go in, they find egregious conditions, and they get kicked out. The acting U.S. Marshals summarized the preliminary review as finding evidence of, quote, systemic mistreatment of detainees, and forwarded the results to the DOJ's Civil Rights Division. In response, the DOJ announced, they said, oh, crap, and they did transfer 400 detainees from the D.C. jail. However, none of the J6 detainees were part of the group removed from the D.C. facilities. Everybody else gets to go. The J6ers, they get to sit in there and rot. They get no access to anything, only families, only showers, only lawyers, one at a time maybe. No Bibles, no communion. You get no participation in other activities that everybody else gets to participate in. On April 19th, committee Republicans wrote you a letter identifying various violations of the civil rights, including reports of the inability to obtain essential services, a denial of living conditions, sanitary living conditions, and prolonged time in solitary confinement. And when we sent that letter in April, committee Republicans did not receive a response, though another federal court later confirmed our concerns. They say that since the 2021 letter, the district and its handling of crime and those accused of committing crimes has reached new lows. And so Mayor Muriel Bowser, under your mayorship, district homicides are up 40% over the last year, which itself sets recent records for crime. Even President Biden has agreed with Republicans, Congress must intervene. So here's what we want to know from you, Mayor. 1, all documents, all communications about the J6 detainees' waiver of speedy trials. Why is it taking so long? All documents and communications about complaints coming in from the J6ers about cell conditions, sanitary conditions, food access, legal counsel, any complaints, every single sticky note that came across your desk, Mayor, or your office, we want to know about it. We want all information about the jail facilities policies and their COVID policies since January. All documents about the U.S. Marshals inspection, why they were kicked out. And we want arrangements to allow full access to the D.C. jail facilities. To make arrangements or to deliver documents, let us know. We have the ability to do this. Your friend, Marjorie Taylor Green, and James Comer, and Clay Higgins, members of Congress. And so they actually did go and visit the jails. Marjorie Taylor Green was over there and posted this over on Twitter, where she was giving us some details about what she found. She wrote the following. From our visit at the D.C. jail yesterday, Democrat Oversight Committee members Jasmine Crockett, Robert Garcia sang the jail's praises. Shame on them for not knowing the long history of outrage in D.C. about the jail conditions. They didn't do their homework to know the D.C. jail had inmates and defendants clean, scrub, and paint the week before we got there to make it look good. They criticized Republicans for being kind in our questioning, but did not raise any issues at all. We were not allowed to speak to any other defendants in any other areas. I talked to so many of them on my last visit, they told me plenty about the jail. Some told me about their education and job opportunities that J6ers didn't have. Others about learning the legal process from Georgetown law students. And some screamed and begged for help, saying they'd been in solitary confinement for 4 months. When I asked about the trans biological males being in the women's area, Jasmine asked if the jail provided sanitary supplies. Republicans want to keep trans biological males out of women's prisons and jails, but apparently Democrats just are concerned about their tampons, I guess. That's what she says. Now, Jasmine and Robert didn't care about the J6 defendants, their complaints about medical treatments. They didn't care about the J6ers' complaints about courts and judges. They just praised the jail after our tour. Either they like jails and approve of two-tier justice systems, or they're easily fooled by fresh paint. Says, I think the Oversight Committee needs to hold a hearing so we can continue to investigate the two-tier justice system that reigns in Washington, D.C. So she was just there and obviously not happy about what she had seen. And this was the brief summary from the last visit. On Thursday, November 4th, they got a 3.5-hour tour, months of persistence. They went and visited it. And so you can read the full report here from Marjorie Taylor Green. But it is interesting. We'll see if the House Oversight Committee ultimately holds any hearings or if there's anything further that comes out on that. But we'll continue to follow. Thank you for joining us as we do. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.